Hi, I'm Lauren. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today. I am kicking off my 12 days of Christmas here on my YouTube channel as well as Instagram. And today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite products from scrapbook.com, and that's going to be their smooth cardstock and the magic mat, along with the new Spellbinders scrapbook.com platinum machine, which I'll show later on. And it's perfect timing because today is also the live stream over on scrapbook.com featuring the Christmas Essentials bundle, which includes some of their smooth cardstock. This is the Peppermint Slimline pad. And I took a bunch of these different dies from the stitched border strips decorative emboss and die set. So these dies are really cool because they not only cut out nice strips for you and they come in different widths or thickness, I guess. They also emboss an image onto the paper. So I'm grabbing a bunch of different colors from my Peppermint Slimline pack, and I'm going to die cut all of the strips that I liked out of this die set and create a bunch of strips that I'm going to use on my card. Now I end up not using all of the strips because I run out of room later on, but I'm looking at my rub-ons from the Peppermint holiday rub-on transfer sheets, and I pick which color I think would look best for my sentiment, and the rest are going to be die cut with the strip. So here is that amazing Spellbinders platinum machine. It's a 6-inch wide platinum machine, and I'm putting together my sandwich using my magic mat. And I will tell you that the magic mat is the perfect tool for these emboss and die cut dies because that it's a self-healing mat. It will die cut so easily, but then because it is a soft mat compared to the hard plastic plates, it really embosses very nicely. And I will show you here. I'm using my machine and I will pull out the die so you can see the impression on this strip. It is stunning. And I will say, compared to using my Gemini Junior, this is the best sandwich with the magic mat. And like I said, I'm getting these amazing impressions embossed onto my cardstock. I also cut out FaLaLa out of my cardstock as well. As you can see, that popped out so easily from the magic mat. So my essential in my craft room is not only my die cut machine, but my magic mat as well as smooth cardstock. Everything just goes so well together. So I am laying out my strips and my sentiment, and I think that I'm going to use all my strips at this point. But as I was looking at the rub-on transfers, I really liked this floral frame, the one on the left here with the green, red, and pink. So I'm going to use that along with some strips. Again, here I am still thinking I'm going to use them all, but um, I'll narrow it down as my process continues. So I'm going to cut out the frame from this transfer set. Now, I don't think you necessarily have to cut it out, but I have a tendency to sometimes over press, I guess you could say, and I get images where I don't want them to go. So in order to make sure that I don't accidentally get, best wishes here or joy stuck to my card when I don't want it to be on this card, I'm just going to trim the frame out as well as the sentiments on the inside. So I just have what I want on my card. So I have an A2 card front here and it looks a little big, so I think I'm going to die cut it down one with my nested A2 rectangles. So this is just the second largest in that set. The first largest is the actual A2 size. And I'm going to take my time here and make sure I have my frame lined up perfectly inside of my white cardstock. And I'm just using my glass mat, my magnetic glass mat with my magnets to keep it in place. Now the rub-ons does come with a little popsicle stick, and here I am showing how you use it, but I have this old tool that I think was even my mom's before it was mine. I don't know where it came from, so I'm really sorry if I can't put it into my supplies, but basically it has two sides to help with rub-ons, a nice wide flat one and then a more I guess concentrated tip, which is a weird word for that, but it just allows me to be able to put more pressure into a smaller area. And you have to be really patient with rub-ons, especially one of this size. So as you could see earlier, I would rub on part of it and I would lift up the plastic in just one part and make sure that everything transferred onto my cardstock. And if it didn't, I just laid it gently back down and continued pressing. So it took a little time to do the frame, but it really wasn't like a pain or difficult. It just took a little time and patience to make sure all of my image transferred to my cardstock. So now I'm playing with my different embossed and cut strips here and trying to figure out the layout. And here I am realizing I don't want to block all these beautiful flowers with these strips. So I'm going to narrow it down to 4 strips. And I pick my 4 favorite colors. So I have the darker blue, the more teal, green, and red. And there I can fit it nicely in between those pink and red flowers, and my pink sentiment will fit on top. So I'm very happy with how this card is coming along. So now I need to put it all together. So I was gonna use mint tape to help me, and then I remembered I have my Clearly Amazing mat, and I'm gonna get my card kind of centered as best as possible and following the lines on my card, but I wanted to be able to use one of the grid lines to line up my bottom strip, which is going to be this blue one. And I'm adding just a little bit of wet glue to the center of the strip, well, to where the strip will be centered to the card. And that's just to help me get it in place and get it stuck down. This isn't like fully adhering the strips to the background. I just want to make sure my blue is lined up straight, and then I can line up the rest of my strips and they are staying in place, and my card isn't moving because it's attached to my Clearly Amazing mat. So once I get all 4 strips in place and the glue is dry enough that I can lift up my background, I'm going to take it off the mat and then I will glue the rest of the strips down. So just adding a little bit of my craft glue, I'm running low here, to the back of the strips, and then pressing down and making sure that they completely adhere to the edge of the card, including getting glue everywhere. And I will repeat that on the other side. And once I have all these strips adhered down and the glue is dry enough that I can trim down the edges of the strip die cuts, I will just grab some big scissors and trim those down. And once those are trimmed, I'm actually going to clear off my glass mat because I have glue everywhere, and I'm just going to use some water and a cloth to clean my glass mat real quick. So now my background is dry. My strips are adhered and I can move on to my sentiment. So I'm debating if I want to add a drop shadow. So I'm just kind of flipping through the cardstock and I decide that I do want to add a drop shadow. But first I'm going to die cut 2 more FaLaLas out of the pink cardstock from the Peppermint pack. And I completely forgot to, oh, this is me dropping and getting more glue on my glass mat. I completely forgot to add some adhesive behind my paper before die cutting to make this process easier. So I just grab my glue with a fine tip, I was gonna say fine tip pen, but that's not the word I'm looking for. With a precision tip, there it is, to help me get glue very easily around the cursive lettering. So once I have all 3 FaLaLas glued together, I'm going to grab the one I die cut out of the darkest blue from that Peppermint Smooth cardstock pack, and then I'm going to add it as a drop shadow to the bottom right behind my pink. So one more time, adding some glue behind my FaLaLa in the cursive from the die cut, and then adhering that blue to the bottom right. Yes. And there, that way my pink really stands up against the white background because it is a lighter color. The darker drop shadow just really gives the sentiment more dimension. I'm using my grid mat just to help make sure my sentiment is straight and centered onto my background. And that's going to pretty much finish up my card. I'm going to add it to a top folding A2 size card base. This is also out of some Neenah Ultra Thick in Solar White. And I'm going to be adding some foam adhesive. This is the 2-inch roll, and I'm just going to trim enough foam adhesive to be behind this cardstock piece and pop that right up onto my card base. And that is it for the card using supplies just from the Essentials bundle. But I don't know how to not add glitter or anything shiny to a card. So I'm grabbing one of my glitter pops of color, and this is Unicorn Tears, which I think is such a funny name, but it is very similar in pink to my cardstock and the rub-on, so I thought it would be perfect. So I'm adding just some random dots in, trying to make it look off balance, but yet still balanced with the rub-on. I hope that made sense. And then I'm adding some of this glitter pops of color to the bottom half of my FaLaLa sentiment, just to add a little bit of an ombre effect with glitter. Obviously, this is a completely optional step. You can complete the card as is using the dies and rub-on transfer and paper from this bundle, but here is a final look at this card with a little bit of extra sparkle. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram so you can see all 12 days of Christmas, but I will have more videos within these 12 days. Also, today is the live stream deal for this bundle, so you can get it at a lower price for limited time, and that will also be linked below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!